Welcome to the Attractions Group podcast. It's episode number 76 alongside Ryan Sir. I'm Don Helbig. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you? You're coming off a triumphant presentation, aren't you?
Yeah, I was invited to present at the American Coaster Enthusiast annual No Coaster Con event. It's held in Chicago. I was planning to be there in person, but I had an injection in my eye last week that kind of caused some complications, a little bit of blurriness and that. So it was advised for me not to drive, so I was able to do it via Zoom. But always a great event. I presented for years on behalf of Kings Island, so this was the first time that I was invited to present on behalf of my new blog, Theme Parks by Don. So just a lot of fun to be able to look out. At least I could see into the crowd a little bit and see some familiar faces. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. So before we kick things off today, just a reminder that we can be found on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit like, leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. If you're an audio person, we can be found on all your favorite podcast apps, Apple, Google, Spotify. Just make sure you subscribe there. Don, who's our special guest today?
Our special guest, some of you may know him as the author of Kings Island: A Ride Through Time, Evan Ponstingle. But we're going to talk to him today about a program at Bowling Green State University. Evan, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, it's our honor. So you are involved in a program, and if any of you visit the Cedar Fair parks, you probably see advertisements for this theme park program at Bowling Green State University. You decided to pursue that. Can you give us a brief overview of how the program works?
Yeah, for sure. So the program is Resort and Attraction Management, and right now I am a third in the program. It's a 4-year program, a Bachelor's of Science degree. And the way that it works is you do 2 years at Bowling Green on the main campus, or some people choose to do a community college or online class or online college, whatever works for you. Me personally, I went to BGSU's main campus and did 2 years there doing all my prerequisites. And then your last 2 years, you are in Sandusky, so right by Cedar Point. And they actually have a building built for this program that has classrooms and apartments. So it's almost like maybe a living learning community, you might say. So that's where I am right now. I'm actually in my apartment, Sandusky, right now, with the view of Top Thrill 2 out my window. So which is pretty cool. So.
Now, Evan, since enrolling into the program, talk about some of the opportunities that you've been able to do to, you want to work in the attractions industry, you've been able to do through this program to help you get to where you want to go.
For sure, for sure. So as part of this program, you get 2 guaranteed co-ops that count towards graduation in the summer between your sophomore and junior years, and then the summer between your junior and senior years. And then also, you might choose to do an internship between your freshman and sophomore years. Maybe you wanna do an internship or something like that. So as far as the co-op that actually program, this past summer I was a group sales assistant intern at Kings Island. So that was very interesting. I worked at Kings Island in the past, but in merchandise. So this was a brand new role for me. And then actually the summer before that, so the summer between my freshman and sophomore years of college, I did the Hershey Park Leadership Development Internship, which is a absolutely fantastic opportunity. That's one of those internships that's actually open to anybody. I believe the applications are actually open right now. So if any of you listeners are college students looking for that right internship to do, it's an amazing opportunity. I would definitely take it. So you get a lot of awesome job and internship opportunities. But another great perk about the program is the stuff that we do during the school year. So if you automatically are a member of IAAPA. So for those listeners who aren't familiar with IAAPA, that's International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions. And I'm sure that you have seen the IAAPA Expo on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram, where all of the vendors and edu sessions happen. It's in Orlando every year. And so as part of that, we actually get to go to IAAPA every year. So I went in 2022, actually, and I saw Don and Ryan there in 2022. And then also I was just back there in 2023. So that's an awesome opportunity that we get. Another awesome opportunity is that this program is done in conjunction with Cedar Fair, which is really cool. So that's why I did my internship at Kings Island. You get a guaranteed co-op with a Cedar Fair park of your choice. So because of that partnership with Cedar Fair, we get some pretty cool opportunities. So just this past December, we got a fantastic tour for Winterfest at Kings Island. It was led by Robert Armour, who's one of the full-time managers of live entertainment, and we got to go behind the scenes and see the behind the scenes of the Kings Island Theater and the Fest House. We got to learn how Kings Island stages so many shows for Winterfest, and we even got to go into the Parade Float Barn, and we even got a lights on tour of the Alien Abyss Haunted House. So we even got to learn a little bit about how the park does Halloween Haunt. So yeah, there's a lot of really, really great opportunities that have come out because of this program.
No, Evan, my understanding is that you also learn a little bit about the maintenance of parks. Can you talk about your experience with maintenance and what they've taught you about the importance of it and how it affects the guest experience?
Yeah, for sure. I can't really speak on that right now. The way that the classes work is once you get up here to Sandusky, it's very, very structured. So they have, you're taking, it's like you're going to be taking these classes fall semester junior year. You're going to be taking these classes spring semester your junior year, and that kind of thing. So it's very, very structured. So I have not had the maintenance class yet. I believe that's spring semester of senior year, I think, but I've not had that class yet.
All right. Theme park leadership. It's one of the areas covered in the program. Could you elaborate on the specific skills or knowledge students might gain in this aspect by being part of this program?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, all the classes are taught from a managerial kind of top-down perspective, so to speak, overview. So you really get to learn how to handle, so last semester I did, merchandise leadership, we did business communication, we did guest services management. And then this semester I'm doing food and beverage management, I'm doing marketing management. So all these things that kind of give you a really good overview of management and leadership in the industry and specific departments within the industry. And I'm also going to plug Bowling Green's main campus here really quickly too, because during your time on main campus, again, you're doing your prerequisites, but I actually did a leadership minor while on main campus, and that was absolutely fantastic. I took a lot of really, really interesting classes. So that's a great option as well. Maybe for people who are listening, who are on main campus, they haven't gone up here to Sandusky yet, and they're just kind of like, taking those English classes and those science classes, and it's like, okay, what does this have anything to do with my career and my major? Definitely check out the leadership minor. It's a great option.
So another thing is, you're studying things like resort management. Uh, how does like compare and contrast resort management to theme park management? Well, at least as far as you've learned.
Well, I think that resort management, it's kind of a part of theme park management. As far as right now I'm taking a lodging class, and I literally just started that class like last week. So that's kind of as far as the resort aspect. Lodging is kind of so like hotels, like Hotel Breakers, for instance,
Hmm.
at Cedar Point. It's a part of the broader overall organization.
Oh,
So, Evan, discussing food and beverage management, can you provide examples of how this aspect is integrated into the program and its relevance to the overall industry expertise that the students are expected to develop?
And today we were just talking about like how to run a restaurant efficiently. I think food and beverage is a really, really important part of the industry. I think especially when you're thinking about what the trends are in the industry, I think food and beverage is very, very important. I mean, at the end of the day, when you're running a park, you always want to deliver a great guest experience, and part of that is food. When as Dick Kinzel said, when people come to our parks, they have to eat.
Gotta
When
eat.
people come to amusement parks, people got to eat, and so it's important that you're not, you're giving them something good to eat, so that people want to eat at your park. They want to spend money, but they want to come back and they want to spend more time at your park. I think this is something that Cedar Fair has really been noticing recently. So you think about you think about all the new developments that they're doing. A lot of them come with, a food and beverage option that you wouldn't have seen, even 5 years ago, let alone 10. You think about, I'm using Cedar Point as an example, but you think about Farmhouse Kitchen and Grill, it's fantastic. And then Grand Pavilion, which opened in 2023, those are those are serving food that you would never imagine would be served at Cedar Point. I never would have believed, the first time I visited Cedar Point in 2011, if you had told me that they were going to be serving, lobster bisque, I would have said, what the heck are you talking about at Cedar Point? You're going to be serving hamburgers and hot dogs,
Chicken tenders.
So
Don't
I
forget
think
the
it's
chicken tenders.
Yeah, you can't forget the chicken tenders. So I think the food and beverage is really, really important. It's a big part of the industry. It's a big part of the guest experience.
So, and another big aspect of theme parks, and I think that this from my hands-on experience, is the human resources aspect. What have you learned in the program about HR in theme parks?
For sure. That's a class that's upcoming. I think that's this coming fall. But HR, it is very important, and I think that recruiting people is very important. Um, I think that staffing is such an issue in all industries right now, and I think that the way that employees are treated, I think, can really, really go a long way. I'll tell you about Kings Island, for instance, and I can speak from experience here. Kings Island does a really, really great job. In my experience, they do a really, really great job on the HR side of things. We have so many employee events throughout the summer. We have so many great rides nights. We have so many great exclusive events. So like, for instance, I got to be one of the last ever riders on Firehawk in 2018 and Vortex in 2019, because they kept those rides open after the park closed for associates to ride. So, just stuff like that is really, really great. I think also the associate scholarship is also something great that Kings Island does. Again, speak about the HR side of things. Every year, Kings Island does the associate scholarship, and thousands of employees apply for it, and only a select few end up getting an interview, and then even fewer from that are then pulled for that final scholarship. I was very, very lucky this past summer during my co-op and group sales to be one of the 28 people hand selected to receive that Kings Island scholarship. So I was very, very honored to receive that scholarship, and that is a fantastic employee benefit that Kings Island does. So I think if more parks in the industry want to think about employee retention and want to think about, what can we do to attract more employees, offering benefits like that make employees feel like they're truly cared about. And when you think about the scholarship, your future is cared about as well. That's a great feeling to have as an employee, and that's going to make me want to work somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. With that, marketing and social media, they're key elements in the industry. How does the program help students apply strategic thinking and problem-solving skills, specifically in the realm of marketing and social media?
Yeah, for sure. I'm taking that class right now, and we just started. We're only in our second week of class right now. So right now it's just kind of more of a top level overview of just kind of what are some key terms, what are some key definitions, and that kind of thing. And then, before we really get the ball rolling, I think that marketing is, again, something really, really important, especially with the rise of social media, obviously, and influencers. We actually just had on Friday, this past Friday, we had Shores and Islands, Ohio, which, for those of you listening, that is the destination marketing organization for Erie and Ottawa counties here in Northern Ohio. They came in and they talked about the importance of marketing and the way that they're using social media to attract people up here to Sandusky, not only during the summer, but also right now during the winter. It's a little bit cold outside, but Sandusky has 3 indoor water parks, so they talked about highlighting those during the off season. So I think that that's just a really, really great industry, and it's going to be a really, really interesting class. This is a class that I'm really looking forward to. Again, getting further in, because again, it's the second week of classes. So we're still just kind of touching the waters or skimming the waters here.
So you did your internship at Kings Island recently, and you worked with the group sales department. Can you talk about what you've learned about in group sales? Like, what are some things that kind of surprised you, and what have you taken out of the class that somebody wouldn't know from a group sales standpoint?
Yeah, for sure. That was a very interesting internship because, like I said, I was a merchandise person at Kings Island, 17 through 21, and then I did there in 22. So group sales was a completely new position. It was something completely different for me, which was really, really interesting because I got to really learn all the ins and outs of that department. I think the thing that I was most surprised by is how integral group sales is to the park. We have so many groups that come and visit, not only school groups, but church groups, family reunions, company outings, all sorts of groups. And it really is a great, you think about these parks as a business, and that's a great source of revenue. And when they're here, you want to make sure that they're having a great experience so that they want to come back the next year. One of the things that I really liked was when we would send out emails to groups who came in years past, reaching out to them to get them to book for this year, or when they would call in to book their tickets. Something that I always enjoyed is they would say, we had such a great time here last year, or we had such a great time, whatever year they went. Or when we were booking tickets for them, you guys always make it so easy. You guys are so great to work with. So that is always really,
Mhm.
really reassuring to hear. That's when you know that not only are you doing a good job, but the whole department is doing a really great job with that. So yeah, it was a really, really interesting opportunity. It was great to learn something different, and I'm really grateful that I had that opportunity. It was really, really interesting. Yeah, it was really interesting. I really enjoyed. Also, I got to help out with some like the catered events that were going on. That was really interesting. And then one of my favorite things that I got to do last summer was one of the groups that was doing a catered event. They actually hired a professional videographer to come out and video them. It was some company and they wanted a video kind of showing like employee benefits. And as part of the video, they also wanted B roll of the park as well. So after the event wrapped up, I was actually the escort for the videographer, which was a lot of fun because I got to walk him through the park instead of just being, okay, I'm just going to walk you through the park, take videos of whatever you want. I got to say, okay, I'm going to take you to the best spot where you can shoot a video of Diamondback. I'm going to show you the best angle to get Orion. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Evan, how did you find out about the RAM program there up at Bowling Green State University?
Yeah, I found out when I was doing research for colleges, when I was applying for college. Um, and I heard about this program. I had heard vaguely about it when it got started. So they first announced it in January, February of 2018. And then the first co-op class was summer 2020 because the building opened in the fall of 2020. So that was the first group of students was fall of 2020. So I found out about the program again while I was doing research for colleges. And initially, when I was looking for colleges, I was initially looking into journalism programs, writing programs, marketing, something along those lines, because obviously, I'm a writer. I've always written things, and obviously I was writing my book during my college search process. So at first I was looking into journalism programs, but I kind of had this epiphany during COVID, because you had a lot of time to yourself to think about
Yeah.
things, and I was like, as much as I enjoy writing and I do a lot of writing, I only like writing about Kings Island. I only like writing about amusement parks. So why not, instead of following what I'm necessarily good at, why don't I follow what I'm passionate about? And so that was how I found the RAM program, is I followed what I was passionate about. Yeah, I'm good at writing, but my passion is amusement parks. And I was so lucky with this program coming out at the time that it did. This ended up being the only college that I applied for, actually. So because I just knew that this program was the right fit for me. It's one of only two programs like it in the entire world. The other one is in England. So when you think about, okay, I want to do college, I want to do it about amusement parks, you don't really have a lot of options to choose from. But this is absolutely the right choice. It's a great program. It's a great school. I've really enjoyed being here.
Yeah, very good, Evan. So do you believe that the fact that you worked for Cedar Fair was that a big influence on one, your decision to do this program since it's in affiliation with Cedar Fair, and two, that you got into the program?
Yeah, I think for both. I think definitely as far as my interest, I think again, working for Cedar Fair, growing up at Kings Island, I understood this organization. I understand the parks. I love the parks. I love Kings Island. I love Cedar Point. I love all the other Cedar Fair parks. So that definitely played a role into it. And looking to the future as well also played a role into it because I think something important when you work for a company, and this goes for anybody in any industry, but I feel like when you work for a company, that company, your values should be congruent with what that company is doing. And what Cedar Fair is doing right now, as far as future developments, what they're doing right now is they're really emphasizing placemaking. They're emphasizing the history of. They're emphasizing these authentic stories in their parks. We're not building, actually, knock on wood, I hope we don't see this with the given the merger. We're not seeing some stupid flash in the pan IP of, oh, let's slap a DC ride over here, let's slap a DC ride over here. No, the stuff that they're building right now, they're telling authentic stories to the park, and it's authentic stories to the region, and that really really resonates with me. I want to be involved in an organization where that is what they believe in, and that is what they see as the future of their parks.
Evan, you're getting a little bit of experience in so many different aspects of the industry, both with, what you did seasonally at Kings Island through this program, the RAM program there. You mentioned earlier you got to go to Kennywood and do some things, or not Kennywood, but Park, and do some things there. What are your aspirations? What do you want to do when you graduate? I mean, what part of the industry do you want to do? What's the role you see yourself in?
That's a fantastic question, because that's something that I'm figuring out right now as well. So again, another great aspect of this program is because you get classes and you get experience in all the departments, you kind of get to see, okay, do I like this? Do I not like this? Again, going back to group sales, it was a great summer. It was a great opportunity, but I can also say that, I don't really see myself doing that in the future, that's a good thing to know. So I think that right now, I really want, actually, I shouldn't say right now, because I've always been really passionate, like I said, about storytelling and preserving the park's identity. I'm a big believer that when you go to a park, you want to walk away from that park sense of identity of what that park is, you know. So I can't, and I go to parks, and I love traveling. I love traveling and visiting different parks and seeing what they do well, what do they not do well, what can they learn. So I'm not I'm not an artist at all. I don't I'm bad at drawing. I'm not an architect, but I do go to parks. I'm like, okay, it should be playing this type of music, and maybe it should be doing, we should add this kind of thing here. So something involved in those lines, and storytelling, and just figuring out how do we embrace the history of this park and the story of this the future. So some sort of role involving that.
Okay.
Evan, if you wanted to give somebody a bit of advice that was considering the BGSU program, what advice would you give them?
I would personally say to do your first 2 years on main campus. I know, again, like I said, obviously do what's best for you. I'm a big believer in doing what's best for you, but I really do think that those first 2 years on an actual college campus is just such a great experience. I do enjoy, it is fun being in the same building with all your friends here in Sandusky and being so close to Cedar Point, but those first 2 years, it's just really great to be in that college environment. Bowling Green is such a great campus. Yeah, gets a little cold, gets a little windy in the winter, but such a great group of people. It's a really pretty campus. I was very lucky. I got involved. I was a tour guide for both my years there on main campus. So it was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed doing that. It's just, there's a lot of different ways to get involved on campus, and you're not going to get those same opportunities maybe if you did an online school or a community college and stuff like that. But like I said, it's important to do what's best for you. But for me personally, I would definitely recommend giving it a shot. It's a really, really great campus.
All right. Well, Evan, we look forward to tracking your career. I imagine you'll be the CEO that tries to shut us down someday. But
I wouldn't say that.
We'll have to remind you that you were on our show at one point, so it'll be like a doxing situation where you can no longer come after us.
I hope it doesn't come to that. That would be terrible.
I know, we don't want it, but hey, so we're going to have an episode of Tower Topics, our other podcast by Kings Island, coming out in a couple days about Evan's book, which is Kings Island: A Ride Through Time, which is a fantastic historical documentation of all of Kings Island's 50 years, first 50 years, shall we say, because it's a couple years old now. But we're going to put a link to that in the description. But Evan, thank you for being on the Attractions Group podcast. This has been fantastic information. If somebody wanted to learn more about the program, where would you recommend going?
Yeah, definitely. You can find it on BGSU's website. Let me actually tell you what the website. Okay, it's kind of a long URL, but it's bgsu.edu. And from there, you can search for Resort and Attraction Management, and you'll be able to find all the information on the website. You can contact our director of the program. She's extremely responsive. She loves talking about the program, Swathi Ravichandran. She'll be happy to talk to anybody interested in the program as well. Yeah, so that's a great source right there. Just bgsu.edu, and it's Resort and Attraction Management is the name of the program, or RAAM, RAAM,
Resort
for sure.
Well, for our listeners, remember the name Evan Ponstingle, because he's going places in this industry.
Well, thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, stick around for the Pick 6. That's coming up next. Thanks for listening, everyone.